Hello everybody, and welcome to Brett's video on how to use TinkerCAD. I'm going to show you real quick how to get into TinkerCAD and how to make some jewelry, because this is going to be really easy and really fun. So you're going to want to sign in. You go to tinkercad.com right there, and when you sign in, you're going to click up in the corner, and you're going to want to sign in with a Google email. I think you could probably use anything, but maybe making a Gmail will be easier. And if you don't know how to do that, send me a message in the chat and we can get one going. Once you're in here and you go to TinkerCAD, this is going to be the interface that you see. You can do 3D designs, circuits, and lessons. But for now, I'm just going to dive right in, make this video short, and show you how to create some jewelry. So when you click Create New Design, you're opened up with this big flat pane. And just to go back, I want to show you something I worked on yesterday. So here's a couple objects that I've made. Give them a second to render. You can use, if you're using a laptop, you can kind of pinch the touchpad to zoom in and out. This little box up here in the top left is your perspective cube. So you spin that around and you can go to the different views. You can go underneath and everything. You can click and drag to move around. You click objects and drag them around. We'll get into the directions later. But these are just a few things that I made for earrings. So this is a design my wife found that she saw online, and I tried to replicate it. Here's like a little super villain type thing. The colors don't really matter because this is just what the program renders them in. We print them out in whatever we want. But yeah, we can do a lot of stuff with that. This is just a little 3D skeleton that I made from some of the parts that are available in the thing. So we can make 3D earrings. We'll just make them small. And that's that. Another one I worked on yesterday was this. And these were really simple. This is ugly and unfinished, but I'm going to work on that later today. This is like a Led Zeppelin type of earring, I think, that you could use. And we'll just print that off and put a little post on the back of it, and bam, right from the printer to looking good and wearing that on your ears. So I'll show you how to make a new one. Click New Design. Basically, what you're going to be doing is working with 3D shapes to do anything. So I can start with a square. And here you have, when you drop an object, you have a bunch of things you can do to it. You can change the radius of the edges, so you can make it look kind of more soft. You can change the steps, which just kind of change the edges of it. You can change the length, but we're going to modify all that with the little boxes that you see here. So to change the size of your shape, you can drag it in 3D space, so you can make it bigger and wider. This button will make it taller. These edges will just grab that face and move that face instead of the whole thing. This little cone button is what lifts it up in 3D space, so sometimes you might need to stack objects on top of each other. So you can lift that up and move it and then place it down. You notice that these numbers show up when I'm moving it. That line at the bottom where it says 9, right here, is telling me how close to the build plate I have it. So you want to put that down to 0 when you're moving objects back down, so that they're actually attached to the plate, so that when we print them, they don't print in the air and go crazy. So what I'm going to do to make an earring is maybe I'm going to scale this down a bit to like 3 millimeters, and now I have a flat surface, and now I can start tearing things out of it. And there's lots of ways that you can do that. So I'm going to make I don't know. What should I make? I'll make something with a sphere. So I take this sphere out here and drag it on top, and you'll notice that it's actually inside the square a little bit. You can change that, put it above the square if you want, but you're going to have to move some stuff around. Now, if I want to see how far this is in the square, I can make this circle a hole, and it's going to show me the depth that it's going into the square. And what happens when you use the hole function is that you carve shapes out of shapes. So mostly with TinkerCAD, you're working with composite shapes. And if you know a little bit about how they work, it's actually quite easy to make about anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use this group function. The group function puts the two shapes together and makes them one. You can ungroup later. And when I group a hole with a flat object, it carves that hole out of it. And I can do that with edges. I can make this look really neat if I want to. I make this circle a hole. I can sink it down, drag it out, and I can make like a little indent in my earring design, or take the whole thing out. I'm going to ungroup so I can get that circle back. I'm going to hit Command C and Command B to make a copy, and I'm going to try to put some all around. You can use the ruler button to make sure that you're even on everything. I'm just trying to do this quick so not to bore everybody. And I'm just going to do it kind of half-assed. So once I do that, I can make a little shape like this, and I have something like the start of a piece of jewelry or an earring, maybe like a hoop or something like that. And there's lots of other stuff you can use. I mean, you can start with tubes, you can start with little hoops. Eventually what we can even do is load up images that we have done before on the with art programs like Photoshop, and we can load those 2D images right in here and do that. And I think I can do that here. Just takes a second to load. And there we have it. Wolastoq Education. I'm going to delete these, get to another road. Here we have a Wolastoq Education earring that we could use. Scale that down, make it a bit more small. And I mean, we might want to screw around with this a little bit and make it more wide, because I mean it is quite small. You want it to fit on an ear, but we'll look at sizing and all that kind of other stuff later. But that's the very basics of it. I think that you guys can figure out the rest, but these things, they'll take about like 30 seconds to print on the 3D printer, and you know, we could charge $5 for them. They cost nothing to make, and they're really fun, and you guys can really, you know, go ahead with your own designs and try to figure it out. So that's all I got. Good luck. Enjoy this flood day, everybody. Godspeed.